Welcome to Lasting Impressions with Lauren, the podcast where we explore the art of making a memorable impact in every encounter. I'm your host, Lauren Hanna, Director of First Impressions at Real News PR. Join me each week as we sit down with a diverse range of guests, from industry leaders to everyday influencers, to explore their insights, experiences, and strategies for making memorable impressions. So whether you're looking to enhance your professional presence, elevate your personal brand, or simply leave a positive impact on those around you, this is your go-to destination for all things impression management. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered to make every interaction count. Welcome to the podcast where impressions aren't just made, they last. Hi everybody, welcome back to Lasting Impressions with Lauren. I am your host, Lauren Hanna, and today I am here with Lisha Ruda. She is a Gallup-certified StrengthsFinder coach and a strengths-based career coach and leadership trainer. Hi, Lisha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that our audience is going to be able to learn about strengths-based coaching and just everything that it applies to, because it applies to business and personal, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, when you and I spoke originally about this, I was so excited to just come on and share and just kind of talk about my journey and what led me to this neck of the woods. And it's just so exciting to be able to work with individuals and teams and just talk about just kind of the importance of who you were created to be and leaving all the rest of it for somebody else to do, right? Because we can't do it all. And so, yeah, it's just been such a fun journey for me coming to this place and feeling like, I think I had shared with you, I was in my mid-30s and I was helping launch a wine company actually. And I was around all of these really powerful women that had been, in all of they were lawyers, they were doctors, they were pharmaceutical reps. And, my husband's military. So I had chosen to just stay home and raise my children. And there's so much value in that. But, when you're in this world where you're around a bunch of other women that are doing all these, things out in the world, I felt very, I don't know,
inspired.
Yes.
Yep.
But then also just like very self-conscious and like, well, what am I good at?
Gotcha.
And so that's when I started to kind of be like, well, I think I need to find that out, because I don't know, as when we're growing up, I don't feel like that, especially, I'm a few years older than you, but when we were growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about like trying to look at what are you good at and really honing in on that, and like even with careers and everything. So I hired a Gallup-certified StrengthsFinder coach when I was like in my late 30s, and I just got so much confidence from that. And I tell all my clients, I want you to walk out of here being able to put your hands on the table and say, this is who I am. This is who I was created to be. These are the things that I am going to be really good at. I'm going to bring these things to your program. And, for me, I love people. I can love on people well. I have a lot of influencing talents. And so it's super fun for me to be in front of the camera. It's fun for me to be meeting new people and networking and creating connections. And so, but I can also go into any job opportunity and say, here's what you don't want me doing. If you need some spreadsheets, I am not your girl. If you need tech design, also not me, Yeah. And so it was just really empowering to go through that program. And so I wanted to introduce that to really everybody. I think everybody should go through this program.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it just being different, not having the conversations often of like, what am I good at? What career field should I go into? And I mean, thankfully, recently that's changing. Not everyone is so pressured right out of high school to like figure out what you're good at and what you should go do and study. They're taking a little bit more time to figure that out. And I think that's great. And so would you even recommend like someone who graduates high school who's maybe not sure? I mean, of course, there are people who know exactly what their passion is very young. But for someone who's kind of curious of like, what am I going to be best at? Would you recommend taking the StrengthsFinder test?
Absolutely. I think it is so important. I have had parents that are bringing me 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And I mean, just imagine what your life could have been and my life could have been different if I would have just known, like, to stop trying to do all the organizing, stop trying to build spreadsheets when it's going to take me 6 hours, and to just go, I'm going to hire someone else and I'm going to bless them. And that is what they do well. And I'm going to focus on what I'm good at, right? Because we can spend all this time focusing on what we're not good at and we're only going to get like 3% better. Whereas if I spend time focused on, I could walk out of here today and have you 6 different job interviews lined up, because that's what I do. I'm a connector. I'm a networker. I just love connecting people, and I do it so naturally. And so again, just think of the network that I could have had and all the time that we all spend beating ourselves up. And we all do it, whether you're 13 or whether you're 43, or whether you're 83. I don't know. I'm not 83, but I'm assuming that even when you're older, you're still looking around and you're thinking, man, I wish I could do this. And so I love Strengths Finders because it does. It focuses back to like, what were you created to be? And let's just run with that. And let's throw everything else away and let somebody else do that, because that's what they were created to do. And celebrate them I celebrate other people that, like we were just talking to your cameraman, he said, I'm not wanting to be in front of the camera. And that's so great, because we couldn't be in front of the camera if he wasn't behind the camera making us look good, you know? And so we need to make sure that we're celebrating the differences in others, but then also just being so sure in who we are. So yes, I think it's so important I have put my kids through testing, and I'm like, hiring out, because, no one listens to their own parents. But yes, I highly recommend, whether you have a 13-year-old or whether you're in your 60s. I think that I actually call myself a multi-generational coach now, because I have coached a grandchild, the mother, and the grandmother. And it's so beautiful because it helps each relationship with each generation.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Absolutely. And I know you work with a lot of professionals and professional teams, but I'm glad that you brought up the family and the different generations as well. Because when we were first talking, you were mentioning how, of course, when you're looking for a career, when you're in the job interview, being able to say, I'm not going to thrive in this category, but I'm going to be really good at this. When you're looking for a job, of course, that's beneficial, but even family and like personal relationships, being able to understand how each other communicate. How do you see, have there been any times, of course, working with that family specifically, I'm sure that was really cool to see, but is there any, maybe like really cool success stories on a personal level with a client?
Yeah, I do. I have so many that are just so fun. But one that sticks out is one of my daughter's friends. They hired me to coach all 3 kids and then mom. And so the middle daughter is very different from mom. She has so many executing talents, and mom is very similar to yours, Lauren. She's very relationship driven. And so her daughter is very high in a developing talent, and a developer will come into any room and they will look around and they'll be like, well, you should move this over here and that over. And if you would, and so mom she was just like, my daughter is always being so critical of me. And it really was sandpaper in the relationship. And so doing this helped. And so when I go through these with students, or really anyone that wants to be in better relationship, I'm like, invite mom in, whoever it is that you think would be beneficial to hear this about you. So mom came in and I'm like, let's read through developer. And so she's able to see these behaviors through her daughter's eyes and recognize that the daughter is not being critical. Like that's really what she's gifted in. She's really wanting to come in and help mom. Like she's just really being a helper.
Yeah.
But because mom is so relationship driven, she wants the connection. You know, she wants daughter to come in and go, Mom, man, I really love you. And let me give you a hug. And, you know, let's sit and connect for a minute. But then also, can we clean out your closet? Because it's a hot mess in there, you know? And so it was really beautiful. And then, and I think in the opposite as well, daughter really was able to come in and look at mom and say, mom's not trying to drag me down all the time. Like she just really wants to connect.
Yeah.
So it was really beautiful. And even within the sister relationship, it's like oldest sister is very, very relational. Middle sister is very executing talent. And then youngest sister is this kind of mix of all three. And so it really helped just even, and they're young. And so I hope I'm excited to see kind of over the years as those relationships develop and as they have that language to kind of communicate with each other. I think it's really going to be cool to see how that helps their relationship grow.
100%. No, that's awesome. I feel like me and my sister might need to come see you to be able to communicate better, but that's a whole nother story anyway. So as far as working with professionals, leaders, and, you know, people maybe trying to shift their career or just find out, you know, at the end of the day, have I been doing something that I really am not good at, that I've been trying so hard to be good at for so long? Are there any common challenges that they face whenever they're integrating, like when they find out their strengths, you know, maybe challenges that they're facing of maybe having to pivot or change some things?
Yeah, I think that we all want so desperately to be loved and accepted. And we all think that society, you know, someone's judging us at every turn when really it's mostly ourselves, and other people don't really judge us. We're our own worst critics, right?
For sure.
And so, yeah, I think that that's really the universal thing that I've seen is no matter, I've had people come to me at any age group and we're all just really struggling with a pivot, you know? And I think that is something that I, for one, I've kind of been dubbed like the confidence coach, because that's really what I want to do that from, you know, every 13-year-old that I see. I want them to be able to walk out with more confidence in who they were created to be and really throw away everything that they weren't supposed to be doing on this earth. And, but yeah, I think it's a universal thing of we all want to be viewed as successful and nobody wants to be viewed as a quitter. And so I think that there is a cultural shift that is happening and that probably needs to continue to happen of, you know, there's actually a book that I think it's called Quit More Often, or I can't remember the title exactly, but it really talks about like, we actually need to tell our kids, just quit. Like yes, we all need to do hard things and there's all, you know, but that is what is being preached constantly to everybody, right? Yeah. And life is going to throw enough hard things at you that you're not going to have a choice.
Yeah.
And you will rise to those occasions, right? But yeah, I just tell everybody, like, quit. If it's not for you and it's not bringing you joy, life is too short for us to all be miserable.
Yeah.
Girl, I could go off on so many tangents, but I won't about that.
That's okay.
But, you know, I really think that is such a key, is to just look within and look at how you were created and go, this is not what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And recognize that that your true friends and the people that matter will celebrate that. And you'll honestly probably inspire them.
Yeah.
Because the more I talk about this, the more people come to me and say, oh my God, thank you so much for saying that. Because it's almost like we all just need permission.
Yeah.
So I give everybody permission. You have permission to quit. If it's not working, just quit.
Yeah.
And pivot. And find new resources. And they're out there. Like, it's so easy to, you know, with today's technology, it's important to be happy and to do what you were created to do.
For sure. And there's something that you said when we had our first chat, you know, about people embracing their natural strengths. And if you're a fish, stop trying to walk.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, that kind of encompasses everything that you just talked about. I mean, you're not going to succeed in a place where you feel constricted or you feel like I'm really not getting better at this at all.
Yeah.
So, no, that's great. And I think if you're feeling like you're not excelling, maybe take the StrengthsFinder test or talk to Lisha, and she'll be able to walk you through that. She'll be able to walk you through those, thoughts of like, okay, is it me?
Yeah.
Is it something I'm doing wrong? And then, when you talked about having kind of those breakthroughs and you telling someone something that really just changes the game for them, you said something to me, because I have a lot of relationship building and, that's very geared towards other people a lot of the time. And, I see myself as a server. I love helping people. I'm a developer. I love seeing the best in people and really finding what lights them up and all of that. But you were talking about boundaries and codependence, and Lisha really painted codependence in a different light for me that I had never even considered or thought about. And so I want you to kind of talk through what you talked me through in that moment.
So there are 4 different domains. So there's 34 strengths within this assessment, and they're broken into 4 different domains. So it's an executing domain, influencers, relationship building, and strategic thinking. And yours, when I looked at yours, I was just, you have such a heart, right? Like the relationship people are the heart of the world, right? Like you're just, there's just so much beauty in that. And you are the nurturers, and you are, you're always going to hold somebody's hand that is maybe falling behind. And so and if I may, your relationship building are 1 through 6. So, that is your superpower, right? And sometimes I think that you have let, like a lot of people in this relationship talent that are super strong in relationships, they let the world tell them that is to your detriment, but it really is your superpower. And so I just think that we need to take our kids that are really strong relationship builders, and we need to give them really good boundaries. We need to give them permission to have good boundaries. We need to show them what that looks like, because your empathy, I talk about this a lot with my clients, people with high empathy strengths, and it is a strength, but you have to zip up, right? And I tell people, like, just pretend like there's a zipper from your belly button all the way up to your forehead.
Love
and
that.
Because people are going to tell you everything. They're going to tell you all their problems. They're going to, and if you don't have proper boundaries, you're going to try to take that all on, and you're going to try to problem solve for them. And you're going to, and you want to be long suffering, and you want to love people well, but at the same time, like, you're a person too. And we have to love ourselves well first, right? Before we can pour into anybody else, we have to make sure that our cup is full. So, when you're listening, you just zip up, just like somebody that's in the airport that puts their, hoodie over their face. And so a lot of my relationship building, people high in relationship building talents, we talk about the zipper a lot. Sometimes you just have to zip up, and you have to be like, this is me, this is my gate, right? And when my gate's open, that, I'm open to sharing, but then sometimes I'm going to close even if it's just energetically, right? Like, so yes, I think that it's so important that you keep your boundaries. And again, somebody that's in a high executing, they have no idea. They have no idea when they have pissed people off. And they're not doing it on purpose. Right. But they're going, they're moving, and they're like steamrollers, right? Yeah. And then all of us relationship building people are like, we're just sitting here crying in the corner, and they're like, why can't you do anything? You know? And so, so relationship builders have got to have healthy boundaries. We've got to instill this in our children. And then, I think there is a lot of tendency within this subsect to be codependent. And I think you and I talked about, I always thought codependent meant that, like, you can't go to the airport without your husband
Mm-hmm.
or you can't travel without. That's what I thought it meant. Like that, like I had to have my spouse or like, but really it just means that I'm not okay unless you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so profound to me, even with my relationships with my children.
Yeah.
You know, I've got my oldest here with me today and she and I are talking so much, like she's 17 now. And so we've, you know, it's this new relationship of almost like, you know, mom, daughter, adult, which
Mm-hmm.
you're in the same season.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And, yeah, so it's so interesting as a mother, how you look and you're like, oh, wow, I've caused some of this within my parenting because I wasn't okay if she's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just holding those boundaries of like, I know you don't understand. And that goes universally, right?
Right. Yeah.
So every person has to hold those boundaries of, I know that this isn't what you would like,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what codependency is not like I have to zip up and I have to be okay with me,
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means that you're not okay because you're an adult and you get to deal with your own, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I think it's an ongoing practice for everybody, right?
For sure.
But
For
I
sure.
think it's so important to talk about
Mm-hmm.
and to take a lot of steps back in relationships that were like, man, why is there so much sandpaper here?
Right.
Within the workplace,
Yes.
within personal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've always said I think everybody needs I am not a counselor, but I think everybody needs a counselor and a coach.
Yeah.
Because a coach is different and we're highlighting different things. And within StrengthsFinders, whether we're doing StrengthsFinders, whether you're, you know, I dabble in Enneagram, I dabble in human design, you know, all of these different ones that you and I have talked about, Colby, whatever it is, it's bringing you to a place. I think you had even said, what did you say earlier of just like, it just made things make so much more sense.
Yeah, I think, you know, ever since you just broke down, because I took the test and I was like, there's a lot of blue here, but I didn't necessarily know what that meant. If you're not familiar, the blue is the relationship building category. So I just took that as, okay, I'm really strong in a certain area. But when you were able to break it down a little bit more for me and just say that this is your superpower, but it's also going to affect you in certain ways that you might not know what to do with. You know, still don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I think it just made it more, it made me more aware of certain feelings in certain situations. And I just was able to recognize, like, I'm not wrong for feeling that way necessarily. I just need to figure out how do I maybe zip up in those situations or maybe just, you know, not think of the other person so much and think about how I'm feeling right now. But yeah, so that was super powerful. And just thank you for talking me through that. I did want to ask you, what is your approach? Because you said, obviously, you're an expert in StrengthsFinder, but then you dabble in human design. What is there a different approach you take with each person and kind of what they want to work on?
So that's a really good question. I have an intake form, and so I really just want to work on whatever each individual client. I try to really personalize my coaching experience.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's funny because I'm like, what is, I know that you have adaptability really high, and I'm like, I don't even know what number adaptability I am, but I think that's my maximizer. So 4 of my top 5 are influencing talents.
Yes.
And maximizers we just want to squeeze the last drop of juicy goodness out of literally everything.
Yes.
I am at Six Flags trying to make sure that people are doing normal lines. I'm like, this is so inefficient. I don't understand why we can't, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes it definitely can, there's a shadow side of every strength that we all have to struggle with. And that's probably mine. Letting go of the maximizing. But yeah, so I really want my clients to feel like that they have maximized every minute, you know, of their time with me. So I have this intake form, and then I usually do what I call a coffee chat, similar to kind of what you and I did, just in preparation for today, of just like, you know, what do you want to get out of this? Are you looking to pivot in business? Are you looking? So I kind of just really take my cues from my clients. And then I do some business coaching even after. This is the basis for me. So I feel like I can't do any strategic business coaching without seeing this, because I don't know who you are and I don't know how you lead. And within your community or your business, I don't know, maybe like influencers, we tend to hire a lot of other influencers and a lot of relationship building people. Executing, they only want to surround themselves with executing and strategic thinking. And then they wonder why, they don't have any new business. It's because they don't have anybody influencing and loving on people, you know?
Yeah.
And so, so I think it's just very dependent on what each client kind of comes to me as. And then we build out a program. I do start everybody, like I said, with, I really like it if you would really get in the trenches with me and do your full 34, just so that we can, because I think you and I talked about, we go through top 10 to 12, and then there's generally there's a place where we get to like number 13, 14, and you're like, if I'm in like, certain situation, I can probably pull that out. But there's like a real clear break where it's like, this is what I'm good at. Yeah. And this is what I want you to be able to walk into. I want a 13-year-old that's coached with me, the same as a 6-year-old that's coached into me, to be able to walk into any place and go, this is what I can bring to your organization. This is what I'm good at. This is what I will grow your organization with, these types of things. And do not put me in any position to do a spreadsheet, because we will all be hating life.
Yes.
and what business owner doesn't want that, you know? And so, yes, these types of leadership programs, they're an investment. But you're investing in your people, and your bottom line is always going to grow based on the leadership training that you do.
Absolutely. I think in any company, it could only benefit having the best people in their best positions. It makes the most sense, right? And so, being able to have someone like Lisha kind of break that down for you and say, even like in your hiring process, if you're looking for someone who is going to bring in new business, if you're looking for, someone in business development, they probably need to have a lot of influencing, right? Or relationship building. So I think that's awesome. And it's beautiful that you've been able to help so many people.
Well, and I want to touch on that too, because I think a lot of employers they're happy to pay for, I think it's like $20 or something right now for their employees to go on and take a top 5. And then they want them, to read through it themselves, which is all well and good. But you even said you had taken it and you knew what your top 5 were, but it hadn't been fleshed out in any capacity. And we were only on the phone, like 45 minutes or something?
Yeah.
And so I do have just like a real high level, like 45-minute package where that's basically what I do is, but even if like for business owners that are, we all are trying to stretch our dollar,
Sure.
But I would highly recommend if you can just get that top 5 in the hands of your people, go ahead and hire a coach to work with individually, even if it's just the 45 minutes, even if it's high level overview, it changes. It instead of just going, okay, well, yep, I'm adaptable and I'm a developer and I'm empathetic. Yep. That sounds like me. Once we flesh it out, and maybe you can even speak a little bit to that, of like how that changed the way that you saw yourself. And then you even said like, it really just, it gave you a little bit of confidence.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. I felt just okay with feeling maybe a little like overwhelmed in certain situations. Because a lot of relationship, like I said, it has so much to do with other people. And, I was codependent and thinking of like, well, if they're, not even upset, but just like not super impressed by me, or, not super satisfied with the work I'm doing, like that's going to affect me so hard. But it's like, no. I'm doing the best I can. I know I'm doing a good job, and that should be enough. And that's okay. So yeah, it gave me so much confidence. Just the little 45 minutes we've spent together. And even today I've learned so much more just sitting here talking with you. So I think, if you're looking to expand your business and just make sure that you have the right people in the right roles, hire Lisha. She's fantastic and she's amazing. Looking ahead though, is there anything on the horizon for you? Are you learning it? Because we should always be learning, right?
Absolutely.
What's next for you, Lisha?
Well, it's really funny that you say that. I had a business call, so I think every coach should have a coach.
Yeah,
and so I was on a call with my business coach yesterday and just having that exact conversation with her. And I'm really passionate about, probably because I have young adults in my life. And so I am contacting, my kids go to some private schools out in the Fort Worth area. So I'm just in contact with some people right now to try to bring this program to the high schools. And
awesome.
See if I can get, if they can, because again, everybody's stretching their dollar as much as they can, but I feel really passionate about bringing a program into juniors and seniors at the high school level and giving them just this language to be able to go out into the world with.
For sure.
Yeah. And, just having those conversations and then giving the parents just kind of that availability to me of like, so ideally I would do everybody would take the test, right? Mm-hmm. And then I would just be meeting with my 4 different groups and just kind of talking about, hey, if you're high in executing talents, like what does it look like to be in a relationship with a relationship building person? Because we're also all in this age group, we're looking for, we're looking for spouses, we're looking for careers, and we're looking at colleges. And so what is that going to look like for my college experience? Like what does a mom of a kid that's high executing need to look for differently at in a college experience?
For sure.
So yeah, I'm doing that, and that's super fun. Yeah. And then I've been working with some different companies. I really enjoy getting my hands in small businesses. And so I've been working with like realtors right now. I actually just had a music studio hire me over in Arlington that they have there. I'm going to work with all of theirs. So yeah, it's been fun. I love making new connections. I love meeting new people and it excites me. So I love doing this. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're so welcome. I feel like we could talk for like so much longer. But unfortunately, we only have the studio for an hour. But let's see. Where can people find you? If they are like, I need Lisha in my life or my business, where can people find you? Do you have a website? And all the places.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Lisha Ruda. So it's LISHARUDA. And that is my Instagram handle. And then I have a discovery call booking that you can book just to have a little coffee chat with me on there, and then we can just kind of go from there. Or feel free to send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, whichever way.
Beautiful.
Happy to help.
Thank you so much for coming, Lisha. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye, guys.